Suck My Duck Quickie. Pretty interesting name for a restaurant coming up right here. They actually have a water park inside of this mall, which is pretty crazy. So I've just come up another level, and what do you know, more Japanese cuisines. You can eat a good meal, mall food, for $5 easy. If you look around, you can even get it for like $2.50. Okay, so we have just made it to Pondok Indah Mall right here in Jakarta. Now this is a mall that consists of 3 malls in one. They're going to be all interconnected and through sky bridges, so it's all indoors. You know, this place has been under construction for 30 years, so quite a long time. And in this video, I kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about what kind of purpose malls in Indonesia serve, possibly in all of Southeast Asia. I've been to other countries like Thailand and Malaysia and have seen some similar trends. So, you know, like outside, it's going to be really hot, like daytime temperatures of 30 degrees Celsius. I'm not too sure how much that is in Fahrenheit, but I'll pop it in right here. People generally see the malls as kind of a third space. I know that malls, when they began as a concept in America, they were kind of seen as, a third place where people could go to outside of their work and their home just to congregate with people. But in Indonesia, I feel like it takes on even deeper meaning, just because, you know, with super high temperatures outside, it becomes difficult to spend time outside and it might not be as pleasant. Combine that with like 70-80% humidity, and it becomes difficult. I've also noticed that people over here are conscious of getting sunburnt. So obviously the mall, the UV rays are not going to penetrate the ceilings like here in this supermarket. So it's also become a popular place to go to. But it's also air conditioned inside, so it's just really nice. And then you've got all sorts of amenities like this supermarket right here, so you can really get all your shopping done. I guess in America it's kind of more like a Walmart supercenter would be the closest thing, just because the mall scene in America is already completely dead. Yeah, it's a place where you can get all your stuff done, including like grocery shopping, entertainment needs. You know, there'll be like a theater attached to the mall, clothes, dining areas, food courts. I've even seen some with like ice rinks included in them. So really a one-stop shop where you can spend the whole day there. And these, you know, the supermarkets located inside the malls are actually quite nice. Like we've got some milk here. I think Indonesian brands like Ultra Milk, Chimney, that one right there is one of my favorites actually. Yeah, you have all sorts of cuisine. We've got Japanese matcha right here. And let's see if we can actually find the Western aisle. So, you know, you guys back home might be used to seeing like an Asian aisle, but obviously here in Asia, everything's gonna be kind of like the Asian aisle. And so let's see if we can find imported Western cuisine. So while we're walking through this place, this is called Hero Supermarket. But I was just recounting with my friend here that, you know, we're staying at an Airbnb above Taman Anggrek, which is another mall. But in their basement floor, they also have a Hero Supermarket, which is the same chain. But we noticed that this one's so much better. They call this area Pondok Indah, kind of like the Beverly Hills of Jakarta. And so that could have to do with why, you know, this mall overall is better and the chain grocery store inside the mall is also better. But we are still on the quest to find the Western foods aisle. Let's see, I found like a chocolate aisle right here. Okay, it says local biscuit, but interestingly enough, it has Oreos. That's interesting. We got Milo right here. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Milo. If there's some Australian viewers, I'm sure you guys know about it, but they've done a really good job of marketing it in such a way where each country that Milo exists in, the people think that it's from that country. It might have to do with, like, you know, using local celebrities in their ads or whatnot, but basically it's like a chocolate malted drink. But they also create like chocolate bars like that one we just saw, Oreo wafers, as well as cereal. But yeah, it's just interesting, right? Because it's so localized to each country that people of that country think it's theirs, but in reality, after consulting with my Australian friend about this, turns out, yeah, it is from Australia after all. This one might not actually have a Western aisle, unfortunately. They do have alcohol though, which is a chain that we've seen around sometimes called the Red and White. I was actually quite surprised to see this just because I heard that in Indonesia, which is a majority Muslim country, it's kind of difficult to find alcohol, but always a nice surprise. Okay, so we are continuing our journey. Looks like now we're entering the fashion and clothing section of the mall. We got Dr. Martens right here. And then this one behind us, Electronic City. It's kind of like a Best Buy and a home department center combined into one. Like they'll have everything from TVs and other electronics to like hair dryers, washing machines, drones sometimes, and then like cooking kettles, all sorts of interesting stuff. But as you can see, you know, malls in Indonesia are very much alive. Lots of clientele still here. It's currently a Tuesday before work has ended, 4:30 p.m. Yet, you know, it's completely bustling with people. And looks like we have continued walking a little bit, and we're now here in the food court section of the mall. So we got like a boba tea store. We got Hokben right here. This they serve like some Japanese style bentos. Another interesting thing I've noticed about Indonesia is that they really like Japanese cuisine and culture, and so you'll have a lot of Japanese restaurants here. For example, right here there is Sushiro. It's a Japanese style conveyor belt sushi, and then over there we have Hokkaido. Yeah, I don't think I recognize it, but it certainly sounds like some kind of Japanese cuisine. And then they got Yoshinoya, like Japanese style beef roll. That's definitely from Japan. It honestly feels like half the restaurants inside of malls are kind of Japanese cuisine inspired, or just straight up chain restaurants from Japan. So I've just come up another level, and what do you know, more Japanese cuisine. So we got a katsu restaurant right here. We've got a yakiniku restaurant right here. And okay, we got Okinawa sushi right here. I mean, this is insane. Like, obviously I've visited Japan before, but I'm seeing the amount of Japanese cuisine available is, yeah, it's just crazy. It feels like I'm in Japan, honestly. We have a ramen store right here, and then we got Chateraise, which is a Japanese owned chain of cake stores. They're pretty good. We just keep going. Okay, so we got kind of like a home goods boutique style store. And then this one right here that we're pulling up on right now, Asco, it's quite good. It's like kind of like Ace. Actually, I think when I bought something and got the receipt, it was, the merchant was charging me as Ace. So I think it's like some kind of subsidiary, perhaps like an Indonesian subsidiary of Ace Hardware, if you guys are familiar with it. It's like a hardware chain that we have in America. Yeah, they, like I said, they really have everything within the mall. They even have like a sports store over there. And we're going to attempt to try to walk to Pondok Indah Mall number 2 via Skywalk. And this one was a slightly newer one, constructed in 2005, I believe. So about 15 years after the construction of mall number 1. Okay, so we have successfully made it to the Skywalk to PIM. That's like the short name for Pondok Indah. PIM Mall 3, and it says right here, North Skywalk on the 2nd floor. And we're just gonna continue going. Looks like we got a DJI store, you know, some cool drones, Osmo 3 stabilizers. Maybe if this channel does well, I can afford those someday. In the meantime, let's keep walking. It looks like the 3rd floor of the Skywalk. It's kind of like an electronics area. You know, you've obviously got some food options right here as well. And as you can see outside, it's complete chaos. We're heading into rush hour, almost 5 p.m. soon. But, you know, in here, nice and air conditioned, you know, obviously not wet. Yeah, very relaxing. We're taking the Sky Bridge over to PIM 2 right now. Okay, so we have successfully made it to Pondok Indah Mall 2. And as you can see, it's definitely looks a little bit newer. You know, the light wells, if you will, inside the ceiling look a little bit more refreshed. You know, you got some chrome accents like on the benches right here. But yeah, overall, I can tell that it's a newer build. We've got chrome right there showing. They actually have a water park inside of this mall, which is pretty crazy. The mall we live above happens to have a ice rink, so it feels like each mall kind of has its special token activity that it's kind of known for. But this one happens to be a water park, and this one actually feels wider as well. And we're still on the third floor, you know, because we crossed the sky bridge from the second, or from number 1 to number 2 via the third floor. But as you can see, there is still another level above us, and so you can tell that this construction is newer. What I'm interested in right now is what I see straight ahead of me, which says the food court. So let's check that out. Okay, so let's do a quick review of the food court, which we have just entered. We got the halal guys. I think that's originally like from the East Coast, maybe New York. We got the Indonesian style restaurant with some kerupuk. Those are like oil fried crackers, some of my favorite stuff, but a little bit on the greasy side. We're just gonna continue going down. What do we got here? Wow, might be some kind of frozen yogurt. We got barbecue chicken right here. This is a Korean style fried chicken. I love that. I know that back in LA we had those locations of those as well. Golden ramyeon, some Indonesian style like noodles. Java Kitchen, that's a really nice one as well. Obviously that's going to be Indonesian cuisine. Some kebab. I'm seeing KFC coming up real soon. And then Fiesta, it's kind of like a Mexican style. I don't think they're from Mexico, it's just like a Mexican style grill. You know, so you got some meat plates right there, pretty interesting. Looks like we got a Indonesian style fried rice nasi goreng spot. And then we got A&W right here. Well, it's interesting that they have that, because back in America, you know, the A&Ws are kind of starting to go out of business. You're not really seeing them as much. They also do have Dairy Queen out here. I don't know if they have them inside this mall, but yeah, Dairy Queen does exist in Indonesia. And back when I lived in Japan, when I came to Indonesia for the first time and saw Dairy Queen, I was super psyched because you know, we don't have that in America. And I really missed the blizzards, so my Japanese friends were laughing at me for doing it. But yeah, I had to go there and then bought the Blizzard. It's still like maybe 20% cheaper than buying it in America. Also, something I forgot to mention is things here are really cheap just because the cost of labor is cheaper. So you can get like a nice studio for $300 high-rise studio in the middle of Jakarta. You can eat a good meal, mall food, for $5 easy. If you look around, you can even get it for like $2.50. There's a local spot near the mall that we live above that we like going to. And there we get these savory style crepes where they take a crepe and then put like grilled chicken, some of those oil fried crackers I was talking about, some lettuce and some cheese. And then that was like, I think $2.20 or something. So really cheap stuff. And if your gut can handle it, then you can even go out onto the street where things are going to be even cheaper, like $1 for a full meal. And so, yeah, the cost of living here is very affordable, especially if you're coming from the Western world and like have some savings in US dollars or other such currencies. But yeah, we basically did a small tour of the food court, and we're going to try to make our way to PIM 3, and I'll talk about you know, what the views are like and if we'll see some kind of notable transition in the stores available and the architecture as we're going into the newest edition, PIM 3, which was created in 2021. So I'm just walking through this area right now, and this is super cool. They got like one of those artificial skies. I don't know if you guys have been to the Venetian over in Las Vegas, but they have a really similar thing going on. I think this also, you know, includes some Italian style architecture. Somewhat looks like we got gargoyle lions up there, which is pretty interesting. We've got something that looks like, you know, the horse fountain that you would find. I think that's also in Italy. But what's really cool is it looks like a picturesque evening by the water if you look up, because they got that artificial sky. But okay, here we go. We have the skywalk entrance from Pondok Indah Mall to Pondok Indah Mall 3 coming up right here. Okay. And you know, this is crazy because we're in the middle of a skywalk right now, but it honestly feels like we're just in another corridor of the main mall. So they've done a really good job of integrating all three malls together. It feels really seamless. Okay, so I'm just looking around and we're seeing some gold accents on the marble starting to pop up. Maybe that's like kind of an indication of the new architectural styles that they've been trying to go for. And then we've got yet another view of the outside, which is pretty good. And we got that UFO looking thing over there. And we also see 99 Ranch Market. I don't know if you guys know about it, but 99 Ranch is a Chinese style grocery chain that originated from Southern California, but looks like they have a location or many locations in Jakarta as well. This is, I think, the third one that I'm seeing now. Yeah, let's just keep going into pin number 3. Okay, so we have finished. Okay, now we have officially finished crossing over into Pondok Indah Mall number 3. And as you can see, it had a really interesting like decoration going on for the entrance of this place. Yeah, I think it was like a Balinese style architecture. I noticed some of the lawn ornaments or the statues that you would notice at some of the gates over in Bali. But that's really cool. You know, it's just indicative of the very forward nature of the architecture in pin number 3. Okay, so we've got, okay, here we go, yet another Japanese style restaurant right here, Zenbu, which means everything, interesting name. Another Japanese style restaurant right here. And okay, so great, looks like we have landed right inside the food court of pin number 3, so this should be pretty interesting. We got a fry store right here, Suck My Duck Quickie. Pretty interesting name for a restaurant coming up right here. But I'm just noticing that this food court looks definitely a lot newer. I don't know if it's the refreshed tables that they're using or maybe the brighter lighting. We got some interesting light shows going on right here. But overall, yeah, you can tell that it's definitely a newer construction. Some sort of view, like atrium view, that I just noticed. Maybe we'll come back to that in a bit. Actually, let's go over to that right now. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so we just finished touring the outdoor area, but we're still continuing to walk. We've got some Indonesian style options right here. We've got Go-Go Curry. It looks like, you know, a Japanese style joint. Bakmi, which is a really good Indonesian style noodle. And we're actually coming up on a Taco Bell right here. Let's check out the menu for what they have. So we've got, do they have a Crunch Wrap Supreme? That is the ultimate question. Regular crunchy tacos. Oh, there we go. Soft Taco Supreme. Okay, they got it. Hopefully it tastes like Doritos and not something else. Mushroom soup. Okay, that's actually pretty interesting. We've got Value Fiesta. That looks like it might be some kind of rice bowl. I think in the Taco Bell in America, the only place where you would find rice in Taco Bell would be inside of a burrito, but here you find like a whole rice bowl, which is pretty interesting. Another thing, the McDonald's here is also kind of interesting because they'll have like sets where you can get a piece of fried chicken drumstick, but it'll always come with a rice ball, just a plain ball of rice that's wrapped in parchment paper or something. Because there's a saying here in Indonesia where if there's no rice, then it's not a meal. And so there's really an emphasis on trying to eat rice with every single meal. So eating rice with fried chicken, I thought, is kind of an interesting concept. I think what we just saw right there, like a Taco Bell Mexican style rice bowl, is kind of an extension of that. But yeah, so we just checked out the food court for Pondok Indah Mall number 3. Let's keep going down to see what else there is in this place. Okay, so we're just walking through the floor number 2 and a train just passed us. That's kind of interesting. So we have finally decided on a place to eat. We have come here to Kimukatsu. Once again, another Japanese restaurant in Indonesia. But as you can see here, the display food right here looks pretty authentic. You know, they got, like, obviously it's display food, so it's made out of plastic and other chemical concoctions, but it's still interesting because this, you know, the angling, the lighting, the way it's presented, everything's correct. And looks like they got the kids set right here. Actually, that's quite a lot of food for kids. You know, it's got like the nice decorations to it. And then inside of here, we're going to go in. Got a cool Japanese style, you know, light grain wood aesthetic to it. Okay, so let's see what they've got right here on the menu. Starting up, #1 layered katsu from Japan. You know, call me stupid or whatever, but after living in Japan for 8 years, I don't think I remember seeing kimukatsu. Maybe it's like a, I don't know, a Japanese style, like influence katsu spot, but it looks pretty interesting. They got the, I don't know how to pronounce that. In Japanese, we call it mirufiya, but I think it's like a friendo. Usually going to be associated with like bakery dishes, and so it's going to be a bunch of layers like that. That actually looks kind of interesting. If you have like that weird fear of holes, definitely don't watch this video. Katsu namban, okay, that's nice. You know, namban is kind of like a mayonnaise style topping that they usually put on top of karage, like Japanese style fried chicken, but looks like we have that for katsu right here. Okay, I guess I was wrong. Sure enough, they do have locations in Japan, all over Asia, Southeast Asia, and even in America. I do wonder where that is. Maybe like Montana? No, maybe even a little bit more east of Montana, but kind of interesting if that map is really accurate. Helena? I don't know, man. If you guys live in Montana and you guys have heard of kimukatsu, let me know, because that's really unexpected. If it was down here like in LA or up here in Seattle, I'd understand. Yeah, I'll let you know what I got, and when our food arrives, we'll do a good old-fashioned food review that you guys are used to on this channel. Okay, so our food has just arrived, and I have ordered the chicken katsu namban. So it's basically that chicken katsu, but with the mayonnaise and kind of tartar style sauce on top. It looks really good, and it's got some fresh scallions on top. Off to the side, we've got some sliced cabbages, or I should even say minced. Sorry, shaved, not minced, shaved cabbage. And we got some macaroni salad on the side. I've never seen that in Japan. A nice bowl of rice, of course, and miso soup. And they did seal it properly with that little topper style cap. Miso soup in there. And I'm just looking at the sauce options right here. So we got the regular katsu sauce in the little ladle. That's always nice. We've got the goma, the sesame seeds, and some sesame dressing for the salad. That's always nice. But we've also got a bit of an Indonesian twist. We got sambal sauce right here, which is basically garlic and other chilies ground up into a really spicy sauce. And also Thousand Island sauce. So let's just give it a try. Also, something really interesting about this place, the utensils are located inside the table. So let's check it out right here. It's inside of here. So there we go. We got our chopsticks right here, and let's give it a try. So I'm going to try it first just with the namban style sauce on the chicken, and there it is right there inside the chicken. They got multiple layers, so that's pretty cool. We'll see what kind of texture that turns into. That's really nice and crispy. Very light texture to it. I think that's where the mil-feel. Let's call it mill for this video. That's where that mill style flavor comes. It's not necessarily the flavor, but the texture. Very airy and nice. Let's try another bite. Now let's try putting some of this katsu sauce on it, of course. So you got a nice drizzle right there. That's looking super good. And the sesame seeds right here. Look at that, that looks super nice. And let's do a bit of an Indonesian twist with a squirt of sambal chili sauce on it. There we go. So let's try this out. This is chicken namban, mill style chicken namban with katsu sauce, sesame dressing, and Indonesian sambal sauce. I gotta say, that's really tasty. Definitely the kind of airy nature of the chicken katsu is helping to, you know, appreciate all the flavors in this, because you know, it creates a really nice, delicate base for the other flavors to come into. So we got like the mayo from the namban sauce, the savoriness from the katsu, the dark colored katsu sauce, and then actually the sambal sauce was not too overpowering. It wasn't that spicy and didn't ruin the dish in any way. So let's have another bite. Yeah, I gotta say, the combo works. So let's also try some of our miso soup on the side. Looks like the miso, the bean paste curd, has settled a little to the bottom, so we'll mix it up. But let's see, hopefully it's not too salty. It's got a nice color to it. Ooh. Unfortunately, this one may be a little bit too salty, but that's still good. They got some wakame, like the seaweed inside. There we go. As well as some little bits of tofu. And this doesn't look like dehydrated tofu too, so I think this is a fresh batch of miso soup. And now let's try out some of the shredded cabbage right here with the sesame style goma dressing. That's really good. Right off the bat, I'm pretty sure that they're using the Kewpie brand sesame sauce. It has a very distinct flavor to it. Kewpie's that brand of like Japanese style mayo that went viral a couple years ago, where it has the little baby on it, but I think it's the same brand. And let's try a bit of this macaroni salad. You know what? It's much creamier than I was expecting, the sauce on this. Okay, that's pretty good. So that was a little mini review of Kimukatsu inside of Pondok Indah Mall number 3. It was only $11.20 for 2 people, a dinner menu with waiters. That's pretty crazy. So we're just gonna head out. I hope you enjoyed all 160,000 square meters of Pondok Indah Mall as much as we did. So I was actually just about to leave the mall, but before I sign off, I noticed this little section inside here where they sell like traditional style Indonesian ole-ole, which translates to kind of like gifts / souvenirs that people would bring back for their friends and family after they've gone on a trip. But they have like these little streetcar themed stalls right here with a nice Indonesian style Garuda over in the back. But I thought that was really interesting, and it just goes to show how much of the outdoors they try to bring into the malls and create kind of like a third space out here in Indonesia.